Srimad Bhagavatam 5.8.22. Second. Asadita Havishi Barhishi Dushite Maya Upalabdhaha Bhita Sapadi Uparata Rasaha Rishikumaраvat Avahita Karana Kalapaha Aste Asaditah Vishibarhishi Dushite Mayopalabdho Bhita Sapadi Uparata Rasa Rishikumaраvat Avahita Karana Kalapa Aste. Asadita, placed. Havishi, all the ingredients to be offered in the sacrifice. Barhishi, on the kusha grass. Dushite, when polluted. Maya upalabdha, being scolded by me. Bhita, in great fear. Sapadi, immediately. Uparata rasa, stopped its playing. Rishikumaраvat, exactly like the son or disciple of a saintly person. Avahita, completely restrained. Karana kalapaha, all the senses. Aste, sits. Translation and purport by Divangare Sesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Check the audio. Translation: when I placed all the sacrificial ingredients on the kusha grass, the deer, when playing, would touch the grass with its teeth and thus pollute it. When I chastised the deer by pushing it away, it would immediately become fearful and sit down motionless, exactly like the son of a saintly person. Thus it would stop its play. There's no interference, right? Purport. Bharat Maharaj was constantly thinking of the activities of the deer, forgetting... Oh, I didn't repeat it, right? Please repeat. When I placed all the sacrificial ingredients on the kusha grass, the deer, when playing, would touch the grass with its teeth and thus pollute it. When I chastised the deer by pushing it away, it would immediately become fearful and sit down motionless, exactly like the son of a saintly person. Thus it would stop its play. What are you distracted with? What are you distracted by? Purport. Bharat Maharaj was constantly... What are you distracted by? Purport. Bharat Maharaj was constantly thinking of the activities of the deer, forgetting that such meditation and diversion of attention was killing his progress in spiritual advancement. Next verse, 5.8.23. Kim va are acharitam tapasvinyanaya yad iyam avanihi savinaya Krishna saratanaya tanutara subhaga शिवतमाखर खुरपद पंक्तिभिर्द्रविण विधुरातुरस्य कृपणस्य मम द्रविण पदवीं सूचयन्त्यात्मानं च सर्वतः कृतकौतुकं द्विजानां स्वर्गापवर्गकामानां देवयजनं करोति. After speaking like a madman in this way, Maharaj Bharat got up and went outside. Seeing the footprints of the deer on the ground, he praised the footprints out of love, saying, O unfortunate Bharata, your austerities and penances are very insignificant compared to the penance and austerity undergone by this earth planet. Due to the earth's severe penances, the footprints of this deer, which are small, beautiful, most auspicious and soft, are imprinted on the surface of this fortunate planet. This is worse than fangirling. This series of footprints show a person like me who am bereaved due to loss of the deer, how the animal has passed through the forest and how I can regain my lost wealth. By these footprints, this land has become a proper place for Brahmanas who desire heavenly planets or liberation to execute sacrifices to the demigods. Actually, there is this verse that where the antelopes are there, that is an auspicious place. Yeah. So that's why he's actually saying it. But he added some masala. Purport. It is said that when a person becomes overly involved in loving affairs, he forgets himself as well as others. And he forgets how to act and how to speak. It is said that once, when a man's son was blind since birth, the father, out of staunch affection for the child, named him Padmalochana or lotus-eyed. This is a situation arising from blind love. Bharat Maharaj gradually fell into this condition due to his material love for the deer. It is said in the Smriti Shastra, Yasmin deshe mrigah Krishnas tasmin dharman ivodhata. That tract of land wherein the footprints of a black deer can be seen is to be understood as a suitable place to execute religious rituals. I think we'll finish off all his mad talk. अपिस्विदसौ भगवान् उडुपतिरेनं मृगपतिभयान् मृतमातरं मृगबालकं स्वश्रमपरिभ्रष्टम् अनुकम्पया कृपणजनवत्सलः परिपाति. Maharaj Bharat continued to speak like a madman. Seeing above his head the dark marks on the rising moon, which resembled a deer, he said, now going somewhere else. Can it be that the moon, who is so kind to an unhappy man, might also be kind upon my deer, knowing that it has strayed from home and has become motherless? This moon has given the deer shelter near itself just to protect it from the fearful attacks of a lion. Wow, this is out of the world. It's nonsense. Too much. किं वात्मज विश्लेष ज्वरदव दहन शिखाभिर उपतप्यमान हृदयस्थल नलिनीकं माम उपसृत मृगीतनयं शिशिर शांतानुराग गुणित निजवदन सलिलामृतमय गभस्तिभिः स्वधयतीति च. Translation. After perceiving the moonshine, Maharaj Bharat continued speaking like a crazy person. He said, the deer's son was so submissive and dear to me that due to its separation, I am feeling separation from my own son. Due to the burning fever of this separation, I am suffering as if inflamed by a forest fire. My heart, which is like the lily of the land, is now burning. Seeing me so distressed, the moon is certainly splashing its shining nectar upon me. Just as a friend throws water on another friend who has a high fever, in this way the moon is bringing me happiness. if he is able to give up his family without any feeling, usually, even if he has some feeling, it won't be like so bad. But here he's like, it's almost as if overacting, too much overacting. Purport: according to Ayurvedic treatment, it is said that if one has a high fever, someone should splash him with water after gargling this water. Wow. Who wants to have this kind of treatment? In this way, the fever subsides. Although Bharat Maharaj was very aggrieved due to the separation of his so-called son, the deer, he thought that the moon was splashing gargled water on him from its mouth, and that this water would subdue his high fever, which was raging due to the separation from the deer. Oh, this is so long. I'll go to the translation. Anyway, all mad talk only. Right. Shukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, in this way Bharat Maharaj, oh, this is not, okay, we'll read this part. एवं अघटमान मनोरथाकुल हृदयो मृगधारकाभासेन स्वारब्धकर्मणा योगारंभणतो विभ्रंशितः स योगतापसो भगवद आराधन लक्षणाच्च कथम इतरथा जात्यंतर एण कुणक आसंगः साक्षान् निःश्रेयसाय प्रतिपक्षतया प्राक् परित्यक्त दुस्त्यज हृदयाभिजातस्य तस्यैवं अंतराय विहत योगारंभणस्य राजर्षेर् भरतस्य तावन् मृगार्भक पोषण पालन प्रीणन लालनानु संगेणाविगणयत आत्मानम् अहिरिवाखुबिलं दुरतिक्रमः कालः करालरभस आपद्यत. Ahir means serpent. Akhubilam. Shukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, in this way Bharat Maharaj was overwhelmed by an uncontrollable desire which was manifest in the form of the deer. Due to the fruitive results of his past deeds, he fell down from mystic yoga, austerity and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If it were not due to his past fruitive activity, how could he have been attracted to the deer after giving up the association of his own son and family, considering them stumbling blocks in the path of spiritual life? How could he show such uncontrollable affection for a deer? This was definitely due to his past karma. The king was so engrossed in petting and maintaining the deer that he fell down from his spiritual activities. In due course of time, insurmountable death, which is compared to a venomous snake that enters the hole created by a mouse, situated itself before him. Purport: as will be seen in the later verses, Bharat Maharaj at the time of death would be forced to accept the body of a deer due to his attraction for the deer. In this regard, a question may be raised: how can a devotee be affected by his past misconduct and vicious activities? In Brahma Samhita 5:54, it is said, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. For those engaged in devotional service, bhakti bhajana, the results of his past deeds are indemnified. According to this, Bharat Maharaj could not be punished for his past misdeeds. The conclusion must be that Maharaj Bharat purposefully became over-addicted to the deer and neglected his spiritual advancement. To immediately rectify his mistake, for a short time he was awarded the body of a deer. This was just to increase his desire for mature devotional service. Although Bharat Maharaj was awarded the body of an animal, he did not forget what had previously happened due to his purposeful mistake. He was very anxious to get out of his dear body, and this indicates that his affection for devotional service was intensified, so much so that he was quickly to attain perfection in a Brahmana body in the next life. It is with this conviction that we declare in our Back to Godhead magazine that devotees like the Goswamis living in Vrindavan who purposely commit some sinful activity are born in the bodies of dogs, monkeys, and tortoises in that holy land. Thus, they take on these lower life forms for a short while, and after they give up those animal bodies, they are again promoted to the spiritual world. Such punishment is only for a short period and it is not due to past karma. It may appear to be due to past karma, but it is offered to rectify the devotee and bring him to pure devotional service. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So remember, we did until 5/8/26. Tomorrow, next week is 27. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. So, did you break your fast? Finish it. You must quickly finish and then you must break the fast, no? At least some small thing you must take. That's how parent. Today, early finish. 8:56. No, 8:45 you open and then finish and then take something. Should have done that. Okay, so Bharat Maharaj spoke so much nonsense. Actually, this is explained in this verse 2:5:13. I think so, yeah. विलज्जमानया यस्य स्थातुमीक्षापथे मुया विमोहिता विकथन्ते ममाहमिति दुर्धियः. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in the thoughts of it is I and it is mine. Vikathante means to talk nonsense. They don't make sense. Actually, we think that only mentally deranged persons or overly attached people, okay, like this is overaction, okay, so much nonsense is speaking. We will think like this. But actually, in the material world, everybody is crazy. Everybody is talking nonsense. Like those businessmen who are very serious about accumulating wealth and property. They are saying, this is my property, this much I have, this much, this, all nonsense. This is my business. All this is nonsense because actually nothing is ours. So, Pisachi paile jena mati channa hoy, maya grast jiver hoy, shay bhava udoy. This is from the Jagadananda Pandit's, what is it called? Book? Prema Vivarta. I think so. Pisachi paile jena mati channa hoy. Yeah, Prem Vivarta. Mayagrasta. So, Pisachi paile. Jena, Mati Channa hoy. So Pisachi, when the ghost takes over one's body, one will Mati Channa hoy. Our mind will be covered by the influence of the ghost, and he will talk nonsense and do nonsense. So Mayagrasta Jivar hoy, Shay Bhava uday. So Mayagrasta Jiva means the Jiva who's captured by Maya, his situation is exactly the same, like a ghostly haunted person. So, I mean, the amount of nonsense that Bharat Maharaj just spoke is not even done by ordinary materialists. And this is why we can't just quote, oh, Bhagavatam says, see, some nonsense he was speaking, and if you quote that verse and say, okay, Bhagavatam says like this, then it is misquoting, misconstruing. So, we should know what context things were spoken in. That's why not all verses have the same importance, even though it is Amalam Puranam. And this topic actually we yesterday also touched upon it a little bit, that in Bhagavad Gita 700 verses are there. Not all are of the same importance. And Jiva Goswami explains this in the Krishna Sandarbha or Tattva Sandarbha, one of the Shat Sandarbhas. He explains this, that the Shruti cannot be understood unless it is seen through the lens of the Smriti, especially the Puranas. The Vedas cannot be understood unless they are looked at from the lens of the Puranas. Because Shruti, the Vedas, they're very ambiguous. They're not very clear in their statements. It can mean this or that. I mean, so many meanings it can have. But when you see from the Puranas perspective, then the words of the Vedas will carry meaning. Then we become clear about the word meaning of the Vedas. Then he says, these Puranas also, there are Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic Puranas. So every Purana must be seen through the lens of Bhagavad Purana. Otherwise, Puranas can be misunderstood. Even Bhagavatam, he says, not all verses are of the same weight. And even some faulty philosophy is also sometimes there. In the sense that, when he is speaking now, Bharat Maharaj, he is speaking nonsense. So this is not a pure verse, pure philosophy. Puranjan, he was speaking nonsense. So like this, so much nonsense will be there. So we cannot consider them as same. And sometimes, in the 12th canto, you will find this, I think 12.6.5, is it? 12.5.5. Let me just see whether that's the case. I don't know actually. Yeah, 12.5.5. You see, घटे भिन्ने घटाकाश आकाशः स्यात् यथा पुरा एवं देहे मृतो जीवो ब्रह्म संपद्यते पुनः. Okay, this is actually, that Mayavad famous Ghatakash, Patakash. This is that philosophy. But it is Vaishnava way of explaining. When a pot is broken, the portion of the sky within the pot remains as the element sky just as before. In the same way, when the gross and subtle bodies die, the living entity within resumes its spiritual identity. But then, you see 12.6.1, this whole chapter is like this. It's like ambiguous philosophy, this whole chapter. Then 12.6.1, you can see, you're going in and out for what? Huh? Why? Here and Bhagavad Katha, sit down. And then after that, take prasadam. 12.6.1, you see this? Okay. After hearing all that was narrated to him by the self-realized and equipoised Shukadeva, the son of Vyasadeva, Maharaj Parikshit humbly approached his lotus feet. Bowing his head down upon the sage's feet, the king, who had lived his entire life under the protection of Lord Vishnu, folded his hands in supplication and spoke as follows. Now, here, purport. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, some of the sages present while Shukadeva was instructing King Parikshit were impersonalist philosophers. Thus, the word samena indicates that in the previous chapter, Shukadeva Goswami had spoken the philosophy of self-realization in a way pleasing to such intellectual yogis. You know, so it was ambiguous actually. So those verses should not be taken as the essence. So Jiva Goswami says that Shruti must be seen through the lens of the Puranas. Puranas should be seen through the lens of the Bhagavad Puran. Bhagavad Puran should be seen through the lens of that one line, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Otherwise, we will even misunderstand who is supreme, like Vishnu and Krishna. Because otherwise, the 10th canto, which is the smiling face of the Lord, is the pastimes of Krishna, and those are the essence of the whole Bhagavatam. So, if we don't understand Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam, the order of Bhagavatam will not make sense. Because Dashama, what is that? Dashama Prafullam. Mukharavindam Dashamah Prafullam. The smiling lotus face of the Lord is compared to the 10th canto. So each of the Bhagavatam cantos are, Padav Yadiyo, you know that verse? You know? Padav Yadiyo Prathamadvitiyo Tritiya Turiyo Kathitav Yaduru what is that? Nabhistatha Panchama Eva Shashto Bhujantaro Doryugalau Tathanyo Kanthastu Navam Navamo Yadiyo Mukharavindam Dashama Prafullam Ekadasho Yasya Lalata Pattam Shiropitu Dvadasha Eva Bhati. So this is the 12 parts. And then the next verse is Tamadidevam Karunanidhanam Tamalavarnam Suhitavataram Apara Samsara Samudra Setum Bhajamahe Bhagavata Swarupam. So this Bhagavata Swarupam, yes, let's see, Pratham Padav Yadiyo. Wow, it is not even there in the Vedas. It is there in it's from, I think, Garuda Puran, something, or Padma Puran, something. Padma. So, in this, the first two cantos are the feet, and then the third and fourth are the thighs, and then the fifth is the navel, sixth is chest, seventh and eighth are the shoulders, ninth is the kantha, 10th is the smiling face of the Lord, and then the 11th is the forehead, and then the 12th is the top of the head of the Lord. So Bhagavata Swarupam. So the Supreme Lord in his Bhagavat form. So the Dashama Prafullam is the 10th canto, which is just Krishna's. And that is the most attractive feature of the Lord. Out of all attractive features, but smiling face is the most attractive. So, if we don't understand Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam, why then Krishna, if we think Vishnu is the Supreme, then it doesn't flow. It doesn't flow. How come Krishna's pastimes are the most attractive when Vishnu is the Supreme? Krishna's pastimes attract even Vishnu. So only, that's why he says, Bhagavatam also we have to understand through Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam verse only, otherwise Bhagavatam also cannot be understood. Then similarly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke so many topics, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. And then he spoke about Kshatriya duties, Brahmana duties, Vaishya, 3 modes of material, so many topics. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I always keep forgetting where he said this, where I read it. So next time I have to take note. I did not take note. So he said that every verse of Bhagavad Gita we have to look at from the Sarvadharman Parityajya verse lens. Only then we will understand the true intent of any verse of Bhagavad Gita. If that is not done, then we will think that, oh, he was speaking about Jnana Yoga, he was speaking about this yoga, Karma Yoga, this and that. Everything will be everywhere, every misunderstanding. So this rahasyam he etad uttamam, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gatah sapantha. Only a devotee can actually understand the religious principles, and Jiva Goswami has been kind enough to actually reveal that secret. And it is not only that through seeing through the lens of these particular verses, but also engaging in devotional service. Only then we will have the realization of all this. So this is the recipe how to actually understand everything. Um, Vyamoha, I mean that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's verse, which says that all the different Puranas, they see, I'll just go to the translation because time. There are many types of Vedic literatures and supplementary Puranas. In each of them, there are particular demigods who are spoken of as the chief demigods. This is just to create an illusion for moving and non-moving living entities. Let them perpetually engage in such imaginations. However, when one analytically studies all these Vedic literatures collectively, he comes to the conclusion that Lord Vishnu is the one and only Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, similarly, there is the other verse when the three Puranas, Alodya. You see, this is from three Puranas, Skanda Puran, Padma Puran, and Linga Puran. Alodya Sarvashastrani Vicharya cha punah punah idamekam sunishpannam dhyeyo narayana sada. By scrutinizingly reviewing all the revealed scriptures and judging them again and again, it is now concluded that Lord Narayana is the supreme absolute truth, and thus he alone should be worshipped. The same thing Brahma also. So 33 and 34, if you see. For those who are wandering in the material universe, there is no more auspicious means of deliverance than what aims at the direct devotional service of Lord Krishna. And next verse. Bhagavan Brahma Kartsanyena Triranviksha Manishaya Tad Adhyavasyat Kuthasto Ratiratmanyato Bhavet. The great personality Brahma, with great attention and concentration of the mind, studied the Vedas 3 times. And after scrutinizingly examining them, he ascertained that attraction for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the highest perfection of religion. So, such great personalities are vouching for this fact that Vishnu is supreme and devotional service to him is the highest. Who are we to contest that? So this is to be understood, and we have to properly see it how the Acharyas recommend. Only then we can understand anything. So just this verse 5, 8, 26. Yeah. Of course, all the examples are given, blind son and his, named Padmalochan. These are all part of the nonsense only. All part of the nonsense. Last class also we discussed this, the attachments. 7, 6, 11 to 13 and all this. So here there is another thing that we can notice in the translation. Sukadeva Goswami said it is definitely due to past karma. Prabhupada in the purport said it is not past karma. So how to understand this? So here he said it is definitely due to past karma. Rejecting Guru. Apparently, in astrology, there is I think he should advise more. There is a yoga which is called Guru Chandala Yoga. Is it? Where one will disobey the Guru. That is there, right? Somebody was saying. Huh? Huh? Oh. Sorry? Okay. Somebody was explaining like that. Guru Chandal Yoga is there means he will be quite not so strict with something. I mean the instructions or something. Maybe there's another combination. So, actually, at the time of initiation, one's past karma is taken away. But the devotee always thinks that he has past karma, and Krishna is giving me a token punishment. But actually, Krishna, he does the token punishment. Not exactly, it may resemble past karma, but it is to correct the devotee's materialistic mentality. So Sridhar Swami explains this in 10:14:8 purport. No? So it definitely looks like past karma, but it's not exactly. So here we should not come to the wrong conclusion that Shukadeva Goswami and Prabhupada are disagreeing with each other. There is a mistake we can make when we see this kind of seemingly contradictory thing. So always there is a harmonizing factor, which we, on the face value, we may not be able to see, but with a little bit of contemplation, we may find it. It may be part of our speculation, but especially acharyas, they will point out. So with that, we can understand. So let's see first this thing, and let's come to that later. So here, this verse is quite a famous verse. I hope you have memorized. तत्तेऽनुकम्पां सुसमीक्षमाणो भुञ्जान एवात्मकृतं विपाकं हृद्वाग्वपुर्भिर्विदधन् नमस्ते जीवेतयो मुक्तिपदे सदाय भाक्. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds. You see, past misdeeds, here also Bhagavatam says. And offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Now, purport is actually it's not Prabhupada's purport, but Sridhar Swami is quoted here. So Srila Sridhar Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son has to simply remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. Now, I do not know. I think Srila Sridhar Swami only explained this part. The next paragraph, I don't know whether he explained. But it makes sense from what the philosophy is. The word Susamekshamana indicates that a devotee earnestly awaits the mercy of the Supreme Lord even while suffering the painful effects of previous sinful activities. Lord Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who fully surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma. However, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. The purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord, and therefore the particular punishment given for a sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality that produced the activity. Although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit. This unhappiness suffered by a sincere devotee is not technically a karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return home back to Godhead. So, so this is one explanation. There's the other explanation of the verse that we chant every Bhagavatam class. Right? Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. Prayeshu. This praya word means almost. Nashta prayeshu. Prayeshu means almost nashta. Abhadreshu. Nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the class on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service under the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So, almost completely destroyed. It's not said completely destroyed. Why? So, let's see if the purport has anything. No. So, the reason why Prabhupada explained, I think, in the purport lecture or something, yeah. Nashta prayashu abhadreshu, the abhadra, hridyantasto he abhadrani vidhunoti. When we hear, when we do Shravan Kirtan and devotional service, all the dirty things in the heart will be washed off. But here, nashta prayashu, they will be almost completely gone. So, why not completely gone? It's because until one achieves the prema, complete love of Godhead, it is not considered completely removed, the material tendencies. So, we can only imagine, we can only infer that there is this verse, Ye yatha mam prapadyanti tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. As much as we surrender, so much he rewards. What is that? Yadrishi yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. Brahma Samhita 561. So, as our faith is, as much as our faith, accordingly, proportionately, our perfection will be there, and Krishna's mercy. So, karmani nirdahati kintucha bhakti bhajam. That is fine. Now, I am doing bhakti and karmani nirdahati. It has to dahati means to burn. Nirdahati means completely burn from the roots. But that is only possible when we are completely in bhakti bhajam. But if we are, 70% in bhakti or 2% in bhakti, how can we expect complete karma nirdahati? So it's proportionate only. So even in bhava, it is not complete. So in that case, what is the understanding then? That there is so initiation time, all the things are taken away. That is just bhajana kriya starting only. There is anartha nivritti, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhava, prema. So how come? So after initiation, whatever the devotee suffers, it is of two natures. It may resemble karmic reactions, but it is not. So he will still get the punishment according to how much he is materially attached. Now, the same is true for even the karmis. But for them, he is punished, but there is no recourse. Like he has no clue why he is being punished, and he is just undergoing that like a donkey, carrying the weight of whatever materialistic punishment he has, and he is still continuing doing all the nonsense that he is doing. So there is no, this is the actual point of initiation. Why it is removed, that karma. This is explained in the 4th chapter, 37th verse. यथै धाम से समिद्धोग्निर भस्मसात कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात कुरुते तथा. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. So because so if you see the verses from 433 to 439, in fact 441, 442 also, the last verse as well. You can see the whole, it's a series of verses about jnana. So jnana is the most, this is the most important of all, it's the ultimate achievement, transcendental knowledge. Then that jnana we can get by tadvidhi pranipatena, pariprashna, by guru, from guru, and serving him and inquiring. Then once we understand that jnana, 435 is what? We will never fall again into the illusion. And then 436 is what? Even a most sinful person, if he is situated on the boat of transcendental knowledge, then he will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So same like 930 and then 31. Kshipram bhavati, quickly he will become dharmatma. So similarly, this 437, quickly all that, whatever bad things he has, Yathaidhamsi, edhamsi means this firewood. Yatha edhamsi samidhognir bhasmasat kurute Arjuna, jnanagnihi sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. So like firewood burn to ashes, similarly our jnana agnihi, fire of knowledge will burn all our karma. So how much have I had this transcendental knowledge? If I am attached materially, we don't have transcendental knowledge. We have some, but also not complete. So in proportion to how much jnana, that's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, initiation will not have the same effect on every single disciple. There is an essay that he wrote called Initiation into Spiritual Life. That is the title of the essay. And in that, he clearly says that initiation will not have the same effect on every single disciple. It is how seriously the disciple takes to the process that that much perfection he will get. Nevertheless, regardless of the aptitude of the disciple, the initiation process will give an initial boost, he said. But it will not sustain unless it is taken up by the disciple in right earnestness. So, if the disciple, after taking initiation, is not in the right earnestness, if he doesn't take up the process enthusiastically as a duty, then that resulting attachment, or the remaining attachment, because of which he is unable to take to the process. The only reason for one who cannot take to the instructions of the spiritual master is attachment to material life. And we may think that I don't have attachment, but actually we do. We do have a lot. We do have a lot of attachment. I mean, there is this verse from the Mohamudgara. What is that? Shankaracharya. Bhajagovindam song. Wait, I think 6th verse of that song. Is it this one? Yeah. 6th verse, I think. No, not this. It is that Tarutalavasa. 7th. Yeah. Is it not? No, this one. Not this. Yeah. 17. Sorry. अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ चुबुसकमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षुस्तरुतलवासः तदपनिमुञ्चत्याशापाशः. So this is the one. It's very nice. This whole song is beautiful, rhyming and very full of meaning. Behold there, behold, Sri, behold, there lies the man who sits warming up his body with the fire in the front and the sun at the back. But this is actually one of the yogic processes. They sit with the sun and then the fire at the back and then the control. And then in the night, in the winter, they put, they dip themselves in the cold water until the neck like this. They do tapasya. Behold, there lies the man who sits warming up his body with the fire in the front and sun at the back. At night, he curls up the body to keep out of the cold. He eats his beggar's food from the bowl of his hand and sleeps beneath the tree. Still in his heart, he is a wretched puppet at the hands of passions. So, tadapani munchati asha pasha. And even at that time, he has not given his wretched puppet at the hands of lusty desires. So, I mean, that means, he may still have a lot. Externally, one may be renounced, but internally, is what matters. How much one is renounced. So, even at that time, there may be so many material desires. So, when after initiation, when he has these material desires, then the Lord, whatever he is supposed to suffer, he will give that suffering in a way to remove his attachment. And it may even look ugly, like, you know, like family gets, separated, or loses money, business, this, whatever, whatever. So those kinds of things may happen. But all this is actually mercy of the Lord. So that is also explained in that verse 1088, 8 and 9 and 10. So that is how Krishna guides his devotee. That is one way. Okay? Sri Bhagavan Vasu Yasyaham Anugrahanami Harishe Tad Dhanam Shane Tato Dhanam Tyajantyasya Swajana Dukha Dukhitam. So Dukhitam, this is not suffering of the karma, but he is still Dukhitam. Personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Then he befriends the devotees. Sayada vitathodyogo nirvinnah syad dhanehaya matparaya kritamaitrasya karishe madanugraham. When he becomes frustrated in his attempts to make money, that means he will lose money, people will abandon him, he will try many, many times. That attempts, you see, attempts means plural. Many times he attempts. He becomes frustrated. So Krishna will not give any time, any number of times, still not give. Instead, he befriends my devotees. Then he'll go to the devotees. Then he'll remember, oh, some devotees are there, they'll give me prasadam free. Go there. And then eventually he'll talk to the devotees, he will become devotees. I bestow my special mercy upon him. Then Tad Brahma Paramam Sukshmam Chinmatram Sadanantakam Vijnayatmataya Dhira Samsarat Parimuchyate. Person who has thus become sober fully realizes the absolute as the highest truth, the most subtle and perfect manifestation of spirit, the transcendental existence without end. In this way, realizing that the Supreme Lord is the foundation of his Supreme Truth is the foundation of his own existence, he is freed from the cycle of material life. So this is the actual mercy of the Lord. So the Lord wants us to bring to that platform where we only desire the Lord and nothing else. And if we're not on that platform, even after initiation, then he sometimes even accentuates such attachment, increases their attachment, so that we fall deeper and horribly, like this Bharat Maharaj. Overaction he did so much, and fell like a deer. He gave up his beautiful wife and son without any feeling. Suddenly he had inordinate feelings for this deer. So Krishna sometimes, when we are in illusion, he will sometimes put us in more illusion and then take out all that thing. Then, in that form, in the deer form, he was like, oh, I just want to. But, of course, Prabhupada says the monkeys and all this also the same category. Whether in this life or the next life or how many lives, because this deer, when he was a deer, he was away from the other deer. He was not mischievous like the monkeys in Vrindavan. Like they're doing all sorts of. They're not like very serious monkeys. Like sitting there, I'll only eat dry leaves. No, they'll steal from devotees, want fruity and all this. So I don't know how serious they are, but Bharat Maharaj was very serious deer. And then he left the company of the other deer, and then he was just thinking of Krishna. And then next life he did not go back to Godhead. He became Brahmana. And then after that he went back. So even of a person of that caliber, he took 3 lives. So we are very eager to go back in this lifetime. So then we have to compare ourselves to Bharat Maharaj's seriousness and see how well we fare. If we have to be like 3 times faster than Bharat Maharaj in one life, then half-life gone already, no? So, our half-life is gone. So in half-life, if we have to do, Bharat Maharaj did in 3 lives. 6 times faster than Bharat Maharaj we have to be. He was on Bhava platform. So if we have to go back to Godhead, the seriousness should be that much. Actually, this whole Bharat Maharaj incident is to highlight the importance of seriousness in a negative way. If we are not serious, what will happen? This is what is explained. And this is a best case scenario of what will happen if we are not serious. Best case, 3 lives. This is the seriousness of Bharat Maharaj is he gave up a whole earthly kingdom. Imagine Putin giving up his Russia or Biden giving up. Biden anyway, he's not a puppet only. But those whoever Malaysian Prime Minister was a Mahathir. He is until 95. He's still there, sitting. Now he is ousted. So he gave up. I mean, Bharat Maharaj gave up. Still, undisputed kingdom he gave up, and still it is so 3 lives. So that is the whole point. So by negative and positive ways, what we should do. The example of like Prahlad Maharaj and everything. And then there is what we should not do. Like Ajamil, there is the encouragement of for those, not for those. It highlights the importance of the holy name actually. It is not that, oh, this is nice. No, Ajamil case is the best of the both worlds. He nicely enjoyed his material life. At the last he enjoyed spiritual life. So he went back to Godhead also at the same time. Oh, this is nice. I will take Ajamil's path. Mahājana Yonegata Sapantha. But when he was a prostitute hunter, he was not a Mahajan. He became Mahajan by the mercy of Vishnu Dutas. So that Ajamil story is to say that, is to show the power of the holy name. Power of the holy name. So because we chant Hare Kṛṣṇa, we don't understand really the power of that holy name we are chanting. We take it too lightly. So these stories bring out the power of the holy name. And they are not just there to increase our faith, just some fairy tale actually happened. And this will happen to us also. Yamadutas will come and everything, if we are not serious. So in this way, positive and negative examples are always there. Hot and cold treatment is given in Bhagavatam nicely, here and there, here and there. Chaitanya Charitamrita also, full of these hot and cold treatments. Encouraging and then beating on the other side. Encouraging, beating, encouraging, chastisement, encouraging, like this. So all the time, so keeping us guardrails, not getting distracted by sinful activity, not getting distracted by pious activity also. Like that Puranjan, right? So much Prachina Barhi. So much pious activity he did. Like a fool, he chose that I want to first undergo my sinful activity results. So even Narad Muni is saying to Prachina Barhi that all the animals that are killed in the sacrifice are waiting to have a go at you. So we have to not get distracted by either thing. Both are distractions. Material advancement and material, sinful activity. Akarma, not karma or vikarma, akarma. We have to perform devotional service. So that's the whole point of Bhagavatam. So with Bharat Maharaj, we get a very strong example. Very strong example. And it all automatically contains reincarnation is like, it's not even it's already embedded in the story. We're talking about much higher things, which is devotional service of the Lord. So everything is, so all kind of knowledge we can get from Bhagavatam. Just before we close, just if I missed anything. Yeah, so yes, this point I missed out. So purposeful means in one way you can take that to execute the will of the Lord, to teach us, he purposefully did that. But it is also that when we purposefully neglect, even though knowing, if we neglect, then this is what happens. But you see, I want to point out another thing. This seeming contradiction between Sukadeva Goswami and Prabhupada here, right? He said definitely karmani, and this is so actually, of course, we address that in this explanation, that it is actually previous reactions. For example, the chain of karmic reactions, especially in a human body, is extensive. Whatever the animals, cockroaches and all are suffering only because of a mistake in a human life only. Because when they were a lesser insect or a plant or something, they had no karma in that life. They did not add to their karma. Whatever they did was in the human life, and that is carrying on for millions of years again until they come back to human life. So the tail of that karmic reaction is huge, massive, long. So when we do devotional service, if we're not perfect, so we will not suffer that long. It'll reduce, but still we will face. As much as our attachment is still there, that much we will face. Even for example, in astrology, Ketu, will Shani, these planets will, their influence is such that the more we're attached to something, that will hit us worse during that time. And if we are detached, it won't hit us. Yeah. It won't hit us means it will happen, but you will not feel any distress. So, such things. So, the best thing is this: the pain is not because of the situation. The pain is because of our attachment to our situation. Like that burning house example is there. You know that story? Burning house. So the house was burning. One old man, he had three sons. Three sons? Yeah. So he had this big house, and he wanted to. I may forget some of the details, but this is basically the gist of the story. That he's sitting in his house, new house, and then the old house, it's a big mansion, and he wanted to sell it. And he was thinking, wow, this will give me good price, good money. So then he hears the news from the first son that, oh, the house is burning. There was a fire that came, and accidentally everything is like burning. Then he became very anxious. Oh, really? Oh, everything is gone now. Everything is. So then the second, and yeah, so okay. The first part is that he already had some buyer that he agrees to buy. So then when the house starts burning, then he will say, oh no, now everything is lost. I cannot get my this. Then the first son comes and says, no, that's the news by the first son that the house is burning. And second son comes and says that no, I was just there for a while longer. Then the buyer actually spoke to him. He said he is still he will still buy the land. He will still pay the price. He was relieved. Oh. Then third one says no, but if it is raised to the ground, then how can I pay? Something like this. So again his anxiety again increased. So basically the point was that I'm getting the details wrong, but the point is that the house was burning and the event did not change. His feelings fluctuated, like like a sine cosine wave. So why? Because at one point he was attached, and when he's a little bit detached, that anxiety was gone. Again he became attached. Again that anxiety came back. So the situation did not change, but his feelings changed. So it is to demonstrate that the situation itself is not the cause of our anxiety. So it is our reaction, and our reaction to the situation will depend on how much we are attached. If we cannot give up, like the example of that hawk, right? Not this. 1192. Samisham puraram jaghnur bhalinonye niramishaha tadamisham parityajya sasukham samavindata. Once a group of large hawks who were unable to find any prey attacked another weaker hawk who was holding some meat. At that time, being in danger of his life, the hawk gave up his meat and experienced actual happiness. So this is again, he was attached to the meat. And as all the hawks and eagles and everything were coming nearer, then his anxiety became more and more, but he wanted to eat that. But if he tries to eat, the more he will be beaten and killed by the other birds. But if he just leaves it, and then he can fly off peacefully, nobody will be after him. Nobody will be after him because he was not attached to that. Yeah, he may have hunger, but he can tolerate that. but otherwise he will die if he gives in to the hunger. So the attachment is like that. So when we are as much as we hold on to the attachments, they will eat our life. The moment we give up, this is we may think, oh, it is compromise. Oh, I am giving up. How can I give up? And we feel like, we should not give up. I'm compromising. I should not compromise. I must stand. For this, I should fight. Well, is it worth fighting? I mean, is it a worthy fight? Choose your battles wisely, they say. We rather fight with Maya, by preaching. That battle is a battle worth fighting. But a material battle, you will be exhausted either way. Whether there is a classic picture. Oh, I shared it in the KI once, very long back. There was this boxing match. Beating each other like crazy fellows. And then the guy who's winner, the referee, holds up his hand. Oh, winner! Then he's like smiling, but his eyes are so face like swollen, bloody face, full blood and swollen and everything is out of order, skin coming out, and he's a champion. So I mean, material life is like that. You winner also is that position. Loser, you just imagine. Winner is like that. So, is it worth fighting this battle? So it's not. They just can. Like Prabhupada, he was cheated in his business when he was a grihastha, and his business was taken away by his manager because he was in Kolkata, the business was in Allahabad, Prayag, and then it was whisked by the manager and then gone, everything gone overnight. He received a letter saying that nothing is yours now, gone. He could have maybe fought it in a court. Why? He thought Krishna has removed my attachment. Chalo, now right back to Godhead. Go to prepare for sannyas. So in this way, so one may think that, oh, this is not, he's too giving in easily. But I mean, some is not worth. But you see, Prabhupada, when Juhu land was being taken by the Nayar fellow, fought like anything. But why? For Krishna. That is a battle worth fighting. So, and as much older, he will have lesser energy compared to when he's in the Grihastha, more energy, more younger. But he gave like this. But for Krishna, no. Fight. And when he died also, he said, good, very good. He was happy. Prabhupada was happy when the news came that he passed away because of heart attack. He was happy. Okay. So, actually, you may find that, oh, this is not, where is compassion? Actually, it is compassion, because if he lived longer, he would more sin. Better you die and change your body and go somewhere. Either you change your mind or change your body. When Krishna, where he says it, in the, when they will get anyway newer bodies, so you should not lament, Arjuna, in the course of your duty, 2nd chapter. He writes in the purport actually. Bhishma, Drona, they're all committing so many mistakes. So let their body be gone so that the next body they can start new. So one may be very concerned, how can Prabhupada say such a thing? Yeah, I mean, what is there? Anyway, we're not. It's not that he wants everybody killed or he has a sadistic pleasure. And no, somebody is. He did not kill him. He died by Krishna's arrangement. So Krishna's will. Anyway, nothing to be lamented because he is a soul. He will never die. He will be purified. At least he will be absolved of the sin. And then he actually went to the wife and pacified the wife. That Nayar's wife. She was crying, and Prabhupada went and pacified her. So that is the thing. There is no contradiction as such. Yeah, regarding contradiction, that last one before we close. What is that verse number? Madhvacharya, Demigods, 11-6. Yeah. So bhajanti ye yatha devan deva api tathaivataan chayeva karma sachivaha sadhavo deenavatsalah. Bhagavatam is saying like this. Those who worship demigods receive reciprocation from the demigods in a way just corresponding to the offering, like a business deal. You pay this much, I will give this much. That like that. The demigods are attendants of karma, like a person's shadow. But sadhus are actually merciful to the fallen. So devotees are higher than the demigods. It is said here. So that is quite clear. Okay, Narada Muni or even Prabhupada, because they will not care whether you actually served or worship them. They will go even to the person who's Dinavatsala. Now you see, okay, there's a long purport, but I want to point out this point. No. Madhvacharya quoted from Uddama Samhita. He is quoting from Uddama Samhita. What is this? Sukham icchanti bhutanam prayo dukkhasaha nirnam tathapi tebhyah pravara deva eva hareha priyaha. You see here, rishis want happiness for all beings and are almost always incapable of tolerating the unhappiness of men. It means they cannot see others unhappy, rishis. Nevertheless, the demigods are superior because they are very dear to Lord Hari. Anything wrong? Anything different? No attention. Attention is somewhere else. Okay. Anything different from the verse? Yeah, opposite, right? So the demigods are superior. Their rishis, the sadhus are dinavatsala, greater than demigods, but here demigods are superior because they are very dear to Lord. But although Srila Madhvacharya has placed the demigods in a higher position than the merciful rishis, Srila Jiva Goswami has stated, sadhavastuna karmanugataha. The sadhus are actually better than the demigods because the sadhus are merciful regardless of the pious or impious acts of the conditioned souls. Dhira dhira jana priya. This apparent disagreement between Madhvacharya and Jiva Goswami is resolved by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who points out that in the statement of Srila Madhvacharya, the word rishi or sage indicates the so-called sadhus or saintly persons among the karmis and jnanis. Ordinary fruitive workers and speculative philosophers certainly consider themselves to be at the summit of pious morality and altruism. So this like Gandhi, he was titled Mahatma. So sadhu, he is like carrying on Bhagavad Gita, so he is also a sadhu. So among the karmis, jnanis, there may be many sadhus like that. In their estimation, sadhu. So, however, since they are ignorant of the supreme position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they cannot be considered equal to the demigods who are all devotees of the Lord and are aware that all living beings are eternal servants of the Lord. Even such demigods, however, cannot be compared to the pure devotees such as Narada. Such pure devotees are empowered to award the highest perfection of life to both pious and impious living beings who have only to follow the orders of such pure devotees. So, this is the gradation. So, this is how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur resolved. So, similarly, the resolution between Bhagavatam's Sukadeva Goswami's statement and Prabhupada's purport statement, where Sukadeva Goswami says definitely past karma, Prabhupada says not past karma, this is the explanation, which is it resembles past karma and it is given in proportion to the, see, whatever is left of the, suppose a person has to suffer this much due to his karma, but he came to devotional service. And he understood a lot of things. Okay, so a lot of thing is gone, but then he still has attachment. So punishment is supposed to remove that attachment. That is the whole point of punishment. So one will correct his mentality. So Krishna will still make that remainder of that punishment still available to that person, so that he undergoes that, and that sinful mentality, which will again cause his fall down, will be removed. That's why I said that long tail of karma. So that much one had to suffer, but he will suffer a little bit until he completely gives up. So it will still look like a karmic reaction. It resembles, because it is that. I mean, it resembles that. It's like a shadow of karma, but it's not exactly karma. Same punishment in a lower magnitude to correct the mentality, so that again he comes back to devotional service. Because now what he has in special is he has this jnana which the ordinary karmi doesn't have. So when he gets this punishment, he will use that jnana, he will reflect, and then he will correct himself and then come back to the bhakti, and that will be the perfection. So I'll stop here. Any questions or comments on this topic? Wow, what is this? So many comments.
It's very difficult to get rid of desire. Actually, Tattvavit, desires of devotees also between the undevotees. Bhakta somewhere I think that Bhakta is more dangerous than ordinary karmis of Viman. Right? So, how to get rid of that?
That's why we associate with devotees. In the association of devotees, it is much easier to become humble. Because alone we will think we are hero, no? Only in association of devotees, then we will be put in our place. And we have to take it, so not be offended by any chastisement or anything like that. Then we will grow nicely. So, okay, Krishna. So, 3 to 12, purport. His pastimes are wonderful even for other incarnations of the Lord, such as Sri Rama, Narasimha, Vara. Yes, that is true. But still, Krishna is supreme. We are not against Rama or Narasimha, Vara, please. But because that is Krishna himself. But Krishna is the source of all these. So that understanding should be proper. Otherwise, we will not understand Krishna. There's no way. So it doesn't even flow. Why the smiling face is the pastimes of Krishna, which is the most attractive feature. His opulence was so super extreme that his pastimes were adored even by the Lord of Vaikuntha, which is not different from Lord Krishna himself. 1:18:28. The merciful Lord sometimes creates such awkward positions for his pure devotees in order to drag them toward himself from the mire of material existence. Yeah, the second aspect, why the devotees go through this. One aspect is this reminder of karma, correcting their mentality. Second is, like Pandava, they did not have any problem. They were not even material. To glorify the devotees. He will put them in problems, seeming problems, but the devotee, he never feels the problem. He intensifies his devotional service and he will go through any hardship successfully. And like that, the glory of like Prahlad Maharaj thrown from the cliff, trampled by elephants, poisonous snakes. But he never left. He never compromised on his principle. And now he is glorified. Even now we are singing Jai Prahlad Maharaj. So to glorify his devotees, he puts them in this kind of situation so that, because we may think we are as good as Pandavas. I am also, then test. The test will be this. How much we can undergo and tolerate and still be in devotional service with unshaken. Gurunapi vichala sthito, yasmin sthito na dukkhena, Gurunapi vichalyate. How much we can be unshaken in our position, that much we are known as, that much we are advanced in our devotional service. So to show the pinnacle of examples, so he puts his devotees in that kind of situations only to glorify them. But outwardly, the situations appear to be frustrating to the devotees. Yeah. So therefore, he must always reconnect to the philosophy, we have to change our perspective. Outwardly, situations appear to be frustrating to the devotees. To outsiders, it may appear frustrating, but the devotees should not feel it frustrating. Of course, if we are not high-grade devotees, we will feel frustration, but that's why we have to again recalibrate our thinking based on the Shastra. Then we will again see it in the proper perspective. And then, we will conduct ourselves properly. Okay, so I'll stop there. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare 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 Krishna.